will know that I've been very into ICT for a long time. I've worked as an AST accountant for 7 years. So I'm really into ICT, but more than that, I'm really into learning. And whenever I'm using any ICT, the big question is, so what? And I often see ICT being used really powerfully, and I often see it being used not quite so powerfully, as a bit of an add-on, and then I think, what's the point? It's just a very expensive toy. So I worked as a Hampshire Wicked consultant, and during the time I was doing that, there were lots of infant schools starting to use a learning platform in Hampshire. And we noticed, looking at the statistics, that some of the infant schools, well, most of the infant schools were having a slower uptake than the junior schools. And lots of people were saying to me, isn't a VLE appropriate for Key Stage 1 and early years foundation stage? And I didn't want to really be pushing something towards people that wasn't beneficial to learning, so I was quite keen to research. So basically now I'm going to give you a 20,000 word dissertation in about 4.5 minutes that I've got left. So given that I wasn't working directly with children, I had to go and research this somehow, and I was very lucky to have 3 schools that allowed me to come in and work with them and see what they were doing. I found 3 infant schools that were using it, because obviously much more useful than going and saying, why aren't you? Was to go and say, why are you using it? How's it having a benefit for children? And I'm very grateful that they allowed me in. I was looking at 3 things really. What were the things that were really getting them using it quite so much? How was it being used? But most importantly, what was the impact that use was having on children's learning? The key one for me is impact on learning, so I'm going to talk about that first, and that's the only one I've made a slide for because I thought that's probably all I'll have time to do. I spent a lot of time talking to children, teachers, observing it being used, searching inside the learning platform itself. And the thing that was really coming through from the children was the number of times they said, my mum really liked it when we looked at the Lego day. And we sat at home and we had a chat about the Lego day. And it was very obvious that in the schools that I went to, that it was being used to start a conversation with children. And so it was impacting on parental engagement. And that is something that, if you've read the research by people like Deforge and Aperture and the thousands of other people that have gone and looked at parental engagement, has a much bigger impact on children's learning than pretty much anything you do during the day. The things that are going to really impact on what children get at GCSE, sadly, if you look at the results of how many words they had in their vocabulary when they were 5 and how much interest their parents paid in their education. So I believe anything that's going to help children and parents have a conversation about their learning at school is beneficial. And I'm talking today about VLEs. I know here there's lots of people using those. There's also lots of people here that are using blogs. And to me, it actually doesn't matter what technology you're using. It's the fact that you're going out and you're using it to inspire that conversation between parents and children. There was also a lot of conversation about fun and engagement. And when I watched the children using it, they were having fun and they were engaged. But the things that were the fun and the engagement weren't actually the learning platform. They were being provided through the learning platform. The learning platform was allowing teachers to pull links in from lots of different areas. So perhaps they were using those engaging resources more often, and that's wonderful if they were. But I think we have to question whether that is the learning platform itself, and I would say it probably wasn't. But what it does say is actually watching children using ICT. If it's going to engage them into their learning, then use it in everything. And allowing learners to follow their own learning pathways. I saw conversations going on between children as part of, for example, a gardening group. One child had put, what are we going to plant in our garden? Another child had put onto a discussion forum, let's go and plant some pumpkins, ready for Halloween. Another one had put, Halloween's not for months. Another one had put, but it takes a long time for pumpkins to grow. And it was very obvious that those children who were having a conversation through technology without any adult input were learning from each other. And if you look at the learning that was going on, it supported socio-cultural theories and constructive theories, and it was also very personalised. Those children were able to go and access the aspects of their learning they wanted to, whenever they wanted to. The other questions about how is it being used, if you're interested, you can go and have a look on the South East Route to Learning at the summary of my dissertation. The thing about why did it get being used, I think is quite key for schools, and that is that there was somebody who was a bit enthusiastic running it, and I think that's very key. You've got somebody very enthusiastic who's running something, it will take off. But also, those people that were chosen to run it, is this connected? Yeah, sorry. Those people that were chosen to lead it were within a position within the school where they could make a difference. So they all had someone in the senior leadership team. I think that was quite key as well. But if you do want to read the summary of my research, it's on the South East Route for Learning on my Spot page. And it's there. The summary is quite interesting reading. If you're looking at things within an infant school and ways to use ICT to join up learning, then it's a really good resource to look at. And there is a link to the very full dissertation. If you ever have insomnia, you can start reading the first 6 pages, and then you won't get to read anything further. Thank you very much. And that's how long did I take?
I have no idea what time it is.
I should be more.